Welcome back to another episode of the Bridge the Gap podcast powered by Revenue Reimagined. And today, well, it's a little bit of a special day. You have Dale all dressed up, who just took the jacket off. We'll get him to show it at some point during the show. I'm lounging in a t-shirt,
No way.
and it's just us. No guests, no filters, no bullshit. We're going to talk about AI and go-to-market, what's actually working, what is completely overhyped, and where we're seeing real friction on the front lines. If you're a founder, CRO, RevOps leader, or even a seller, just trying to figure out how the hell do I integrate AI without at the same time automating myself into irrelevance, this episode is one that you're going to want to listen to. There's going to be no M dashes. There's going to be no bullshit. There's going to be no, use AI to complete your repetitive tasks. We're going to get a little more in depth than that. Yeah, Dell, that's what I got, man. Show the jacket. Come on, show the
I
jacket.
like it. I like it. It's
All
hanging
right.
out here. It's hanging out here.
And so, for background for
Um,
everyone, Dale and I are in, well, not so sunny Los Angeles, California right now. It was supposed to be sunny. The weather's beautiful. We are on site with a client. We have an executive meeting today where the CEO's like, totally casual. Don't worry about it. I am in a, albeit upscale, t-shirt. And Dale, always having to one up me, is in dress slacks, a button down shirt, and a fucking jacket. I wonder who they're going to take more seriously today.
hey, look good, feel good. Look good, feel good, baby. That's all. That's all I have
All
to
right,
say.
let's go. Let's talk AI. No
Um,
one wants to talk about what you're wearing anymore.
so, so, one of your biggest happy topics is the bullshit
Yeah.
radar, and that is completely maxed out. So let's start with the obvious. Like everyone's shouting out AI and go to market right now. What's the most egregious things that you've seen to date?
I mean, I feel like 90% of it is egregious, man. I feel like when people are talking AI and go to market, what I'm really seeing is I use ChatGPT. I use Claude. And it's not real AI. It's, like I'm automating my emails or, like I set up agent mode to, send me a daily list of my tasks. Like, listen, that's cool, right? I use an agent to get a daily list of my tasks. But if I were to go to a founder who said, how do you use AI and say, I get an automated list of my tasks, I would expect to be laughed out of the room. I think for me, where I really see it being egregious is the low value chat GPT or Claude skins, where what you really have is chat GPT with a pretty front end or UI, and you don't really have a product. And you're convincing people that you have this cool AI because you strung two prompts together. That is not AI in any way, shape, or form.
I I think part of the challenge people are feeling like this. Uh, a long time ago, I was at an AI company. I was doing voice AI, and I went to the engineers and I was talking to them like, are we really doing AI? And they're like, no, it's just like a rule engine, or their decisions, or their orchestrations being made, but there's not really true AI. And so while there are things that are truly AI, I think the challenge becomes how do you identify them? How do you build a strategy around them? And what are you actually doing about those strategies and orchestrations that are going to drive from an AI perspective? Um, so just using ChatGPT and just building out, your daily tasks, or it, you know, it's not it's not going to move the needle enough, especially in an organization. Personally, yes. Individually, yes. But from an organization perspective, that's never going to move the needle.
So I,
What what are GTM teams failing and vaporware in this space? Like what ChatGPT is one thing, but like there's so many other technologies. What other things are people trying to use that are just like not working?
so that's a loaded question, right? I would rather focus on what are people using that I think is working. Because the things that aren't, I
Good point.
honestly I don't know because I don't really hear about those. What I and I'm going to talk out of both sides of my mouth. So I'm a huge user of Bolt.new, right? I love it. I think it's great for low code, dare I use the word vibe code, building simple apps, simple interfaces that would have taken anywhere from $40,000 to $50,000 and, weeks and weeks to months of engineers' times. Think ROI calculators, think simple landing pages, think light scale apps to, do certain various tasks. And I think that that's a really good use of AI for someone who's bootstrapped, who doesn't necessarily can't necessarily afford a high dollar coder or eng team, or think someone who just needs to build something really fast. Where I think people are getting confused and where I think people are going to screw themselves is thinking that a tool like Bolt or Lovable is going to build an enterprise grade application. Listen, I built an ROI calculator for us. I built a couple for clients. It's great for an ROI calculator as a lead magnet. Am I going to go build, a full scale compliance solution that's going to, pass SOC 2? Absolutely the F not. And I think that now more.
Do you even know what
I
SOC
do
2
know what
is?
SOC 2 is. I think now more than ever, customers with newer companies that aren't established need to be really careful and ask the right questions about the back end infrastructure of tools. I'll give a perfect example. For one of our clients, I built a compliance calculator, and it's great. Where's the data going? Like, great, the customer gets the data, but where does the data go? So we built Supabase and all sorts of other things, but like, this is stuff that I had to learn and I didn't know about. So if you're going to build something for a client, and customer information is coming into that, like, you got to be really clear about where your data is going so you're not putting your client at risk. If you're a company that's working with one of these folks that are building things like this, like, you got to be really clear about where your data is going so you don't put yourself at risk.
That is a super good point, and I think where I think people will get frustrated as well, because I think as good as some of these things are as bad as some of these things
100%.
are, because like you develop this like cool little GUI UI interface thing. You're like, wow. And I remember like when I coded back in college, that was my first thing. Like I remember writing my first line of code and it like saying back to me like, "Hello, Dale" on the screen. And
You
I
were
was like,
so
"Look it,
excited,
I
right?
wrote something and it wrote back to me." Yeah. And it's like, I think that newness of the AI world and enabling what was once termed the citizen developer, kind of like these business people that can build these applications, have a place where they can see something that they're writing develop into something that could be used is super exciting. There's a lot of infrastructure back end, like you're talking databases, scaling. There's a lot of things that people don't truly understand from an architecture perspective. But where I'd like to bring the conversation is actually up to a higher level, and it's not just go to market. What I'd like to make sure people get is that there is a strategy behind all of these things, and not only a strategy
Build it and they
market, but
will
a strategy
come, Dale.
across the
Build it and they
organization.
will come.
Yeah. And so one of the things we've been talking to a lot of investors as well as CEOs about at the moment is this concept of an AI charter. And in this concept of an AI charter, there's stuff like governance, there's stuff like who's going to be using what, making sure that you have brand voice, making sure that your data is not getting leaked. Like there's a lot of things that need to be wrapped around that. And it's not just in go-to-market. We find with our clients, because we know go-to-market as domain experts, we find that you can actually build these things super easily, or you can. That's where we see the efficiencies. Now, someone that has been in finance all the time may say, "Hey, we should be using AI in spreadsheet applications or in something else that I'm trying to do analysis on." And so, I think there'll be, if we pull it up a level, this AI charter will help organizations really figure out what you're trying to accomplish. So what's the strategy? Like what's the outcome you're trying to accomplish? I'm not just trying to give myself back more time, but in an organization, I'm trying to reduce my expenses, drive more revenue, get more leads, close more deals. And then you can start attacking these things one at a time. The other big thing I think that's going to happen is people are like, AI, let's go build everything in AI, and then it's going to completely fail as well. So I'm curious your perspective on that.
You're spot on. Where I think people go wrong is they're looking at, excuse me, it's almost as if they're using AI as the growth at all costs. And let me just explain what I mean by that real quick. So growth at all costs, we're all familiar with, right? Dale, I need to hit $20 million this year. I'm going to hire 20 reps. I'm going to give them all $1 million quota, and shit, man, we're going to hit $20 million. We all saw how that worked out, right? It doesn't work out well.
Yeah.
But what I feel I'm seeing now with a lot of founders, CEOs, RevOps leaders, sales leaders that I talk to is, oh, I'm just going to use AI for that. Blanket statement. No AI charter, no
Interesting.
deliverables, no scope, no idea of what the metrics are. Like, oh, I want to improve pipeline. I'm just going to use AI for that. The fuck do you mean you're just going to use AI for that? It's the same as, oh, I'm just going to go hire 20 people. So to your point of an AI charter, it's the same thing. You have to be very specific, just like you're building a team. What is the purpose? What are the goals? What are the deliverables? What is acceptable and what isn't? What's the data privacy? What's the data security? Who has access to this? How many people have you and I both personally spoken to in the past 30 days that are using a public version of ChatGPT and uploading all of their damn financial records? Like, it blows my mind. My wife's company literally has a
Yeah.
policy. If you get caught using a non-company version, you will be fired immediately. Like, that's how seriously they take their data.
Yeah. It does need to be thought through, and people, I think it's like some people that they click through the like accept all the term
Right, because no
pieces,
one
like when
reads
you're
the
using
37.
software,
What
like
are you going to do? You're going to message OpenAI and say, "Sorry, I'd like to redline term 57B." I'd imagine that's not going to
yeah,
work well.
yeah, it's
All
true.
right, let's shift gears for a second. So let's talk about some buckets of AI and go to market. And I want to kind of map this landscape, and I want your thoughts on like what are the real categories of AI usage right now. So and whether they're good or bad. So the most common one I see, for better or worse, Dale, content and outbound. I'm going to use AI to build my email copy, to build personalization and say, "Hi, Dale, I saw you were in LA last week. I happen to live in LA and it's a great email." It's not. Number two, and I think this one is arguably a much better use case, in my opinion, that intelligence and enablement, right? So think things such as summarization, automation, light agents or super agents like attention, deal rooms, coaching platforms like Grow AI. I think that takes it up to another level. And then thirdly, workflow and automation. So this is your routing, your enrichment. We're going to get a little controversial, agent-based outreach, which we'll talk about. Which one of these categories or two of these categories do you actually think makes reps more dangerous and is where companies should be investing their time and money? Or blow it up. Tell me they're all the wrong use case.
Yeah, I would say the intelligence and enablement side of the world. The things that take a lot of time when I'm working with a lot of reps are like all the
Wait a
research
minute. You work
pieces.
with
Like,
reps?
who am I going to reach out
Very
all the time?
confused here.
You do all my reps are President's Club reps, so I don't know where your reps end up going. Because that's where it takes a lot of the time. It's not the actual work of calling people or sending an email, or it's like finding the research, understanding what their challenges are. Like all of those pieces take a lot of time. So if we could take 30 minutes of, we used to always talk about the 3x3, like find 3 pieces of data in 3 minutes and blah, blah, blah. Like you could find that information super easily right now. And then understanding how your value proposition may map to those particular situations, and taking the time to write the content based on what you learn, not anything like, hey, you're in California, I'm in California, let's connect and have a conversation. It's more like, hey, we have seen that people have been struggling with XYZ. It's costing them thousands of dollars an hour. We can help you build XYZ. So it's what's the impact that they're having on the value you're trying to deliver. And so I think the intelligence part, the content and outbound, I think is overhyped. Marketing destroys all this stuff. Sales has been destroying all this stuff. I do think there is a place for workflow and automation. I don't believe in the AI SDR outreach thing.
Don't skip ahead,
That is
Dale.
complete horseshit. But that's kind of where I would see the best use of time right now. And at a macro level, like if I go to the CEO level, as they're looking for maybe funding or conversations with investors or their team, like utilizing that research function and capability to gather the data and to get prepped for meetings so they don't have to do all the research.
So that's where I think content and outbound AI should be used. I have yet to see AI that I think truly generates good copy without human intervention. I think it's all the same. I noticed this, I saw that, trigger based stuff. But I think the research of what people used to have to spend time doing, whether that be as a BDR, an AE, a CEO, reading through 10Ks, listening to podcasts, like I think you could just speed up the process of zero to revenue. But the intelligence is exactly it, right? Like, how do we drive getting that information in the right hands and making it actionable, coupled with, in my opinion, the workflow automation. I think there's so many manual. I could wait for you to be done typing. I'm fucking with you, but I hear it in my ear. I'm normally the one guilty of this, you all, not Dale. The workflow automation, I think, is an interesting one, but I think that is arguably fairly complex. And I think that if you do it wrong, and I've seen it done wrong, where people just pop AI into, HubSpot through the Claude connector or the GPT connector and try to build out some workflows, and they're not taking into account the things they could break, which we'll talk about in a minute about AI not being a GTM strategy. But where does it introduce risk, right? Or remove too much human friction? And I'm going to tie this to my last question I have on this topic, and I'm going to go on a little bit of a rant. AI SDRs, vision or delusion. So I agree with you. You could not give me enough money to have an AI agent or person calling out as an SDR. I think there's so much risk there to burning your Tam Sam Sam, where you have such shit messaging. I think it was 6 months or so ago, there was this arguably viral clip going across LinkedIn about this Tesla AI SDR. And I don't think it was Tesla that did it, but the company used Tesla as a use case, just to make sure that we're not throwing Tesla under the bus for all you Tesla fans. But it was just bad. Like, I still listen. I do think there's a place for AI when it comes to cold outbound, but I still believe humans want to buy from humans. What are your thoughts? What do you think? People buy from people. That's why companies who invest in meaningful connections win. The best part? Gifting doesn't have to be expensive to drive results, just thoughtful. Sendoso's intelligent gifting platform is designed to boost personalized engagement throughout the entire sales process. Trust me, I led sales for a Sendoso competitor, and I could tell you, no one does gifting better than Sendoso. If you're looking for a proven way to win and retain more customers, visit sendoso.com.
Yeah, I actually am going to go a step further. I think human to human, but I actually believe that it's going to be human to human in person. I don't think it's just going to be human, and obviously deal size and a bunch of things. I live in the enterprise world, so
Flex now, flex.
I think I think that enterprise motion is going to get much more in depth with in-person small events, not these big events, and enable people to like weed out the noise of all the automation. Yes, we can still use automation on recaps and setting things up, but that the actual sale process of it will be in person, and will be more important from a networking perspective, like who you know, how you know them, how you're going to get connected, because that's the only way you're going to get.
I think it's more important than ever with
AI
AI to be in person. Like, listen, we're at a client on site now. What's one of the things I said yesterday? Who's getting on an airplane? Like, at the end of the day, you got to stand out.
Yeah. Cool. So let's finalize and go through the next iteration of the process. I think where we want to go next is AI a strategy? Is it a process? Is it what is AI, and how can you leverage it for go to market?
AI is not a go-to-market strategy. AI is part of your go-to-market strategy. I think what people
Mm.
think is, I'll give you a perfect example. They're going to bolt some AI on and it's going to solve their problem. So I am, and again, I'm not. Example, I need to do a deep pipeline analysis for my board. They want to know everything about my pipeline, my deal stages, where deals are, deal velocity, everything that a board would want to know, right? That historically, your RevOps person is going to spend a good amount of time running numbers using reports from Salesforce, HubSpot, whatever it happens to be to put this information together. Well, now they're really excited because all they have to do is go to their public version of ChatGPT, use the connector, connect it to HubSpot, prompt it with natural language, and ask some questions, and it's going to give you this whole dandy little report, right? The problem here is shit in is shit out. So all that you're using AI to do is to regurgitate your crappy data because you haven't gone to the core issue of fixing the data problem. If all of this information isn't being put in the CRM correctly and you're not following best practices, congratulations, you got all the data in, 3.5 minutes plus another 5 minutes to reformat it. So sub 10 minutes, you have your report, but it's not good data. And now you're going to the board with this fancy report that's talking about your conversion cycles that are, 16 days longer than average. Well, we're not even touching on the fact that the reps are putting deals in that aren't deals, or the reps are not close losting deals that should be close lost. Like AI can't pick that up yet. So I find that a lot of leaders are, for lack of better terms, trying to oversimplify things by bolting AI on versus solving the core problem first and then using AI, going back to your AI charter.
Yeah, and I think that's really important. It is a part of a strategy. As I think through a lot of the things that are happening in the AI world, the problems are the same. So, this is not just in go to market. Like the problems are the same. You're having problems bottoms up modeling. You're having problems with top of funnel. You're having like whatever you're having problems with recruiting. Like all of these things could be a challenge. Yes, AI is a way to solve it without the traditional way of solving it. So traditional way of recruiting is having a bunch of recruiters out there, scouring the internet, calling people, et cetera, et cetera. Or you could leverage AI as a part of that strategy and mix it in with the human part of it. So the problem remains the same. The way we are solving the problem could be traditional, could be AI, could be a mixture of both of them. And I think only until you identify the problems that you're trying to solve for and how you are going to solve them, you actually get into a place of mixing or integrating AI into an overall strategy, whether it's GTM or something else.
Yeah, I think you're spot on. This is the biggest one that I just think is a miss because of how fast AI is going. Where the world, for lack of better terms, thinks it's a strategy and it's not. And you have to be really careful because people are going to call you out on your bullshit really fast. So if
Yep.
you're a CRO right now, so we'll take you back a little bit. So you're a CRO at whatever company. You have, a VP of sales, a VP of marketing, you report to the CEO. How do you evaluate what AI investments are actually worth it and which ones are just noise?
Um, I evaluate it by actually using it. And I actually get my hands dirty in figuring out what's working and what's not working. I'm not taking, I'm educating myself in the literacy side of it, and then I'm actually using it to figure out what I can and can't do. This is a big advantage I think people have if they actually do the work, is that they can um, figure out what is fact and what's myth. And so, um, as I was when I was a CRO, because I did development work and I was in any of the technical conversations, I actually could talk about it a lot better than most other CROs. And so I pushed that into the AI space. So if I was a CRO and I was looking to use some technology, I would really try to just figure it out from the ground up.
Yeah, I love it. And I think that's important, right? This isn't something that you could just pawn off. and hope someone else does it. You have to be hands-on. You have to be learning. I do not believe that AI is going to quote unquote eliminate 60, 70% of everyone's job. I do believe if you don't understand how to use AI, if you don't learn AI, if you don't learn how it can accelerate everyone on your team, you are at a massive, massive risk. So we have a couple more minutes. I want to flip it here. I know my answer. I'm curious your answer. What's it one company, one team, or one approach that's doing this really well right now?
I think the companies that are doing it well actually were not even around, 2 years ago. So I'm thinking of like a Swan, where they're building it from the ground up and they're thinking of it from an autonomous business engine. Will they get there the way they're thinking about it? Maybe, maybe not. It's still to be
Mm.
determined how far you can push the AI, because I think some of it is a little bit early. Because you're gonna have like humans get in the loop on this stuff, like when buyers get in the loop, like there are things that are gonna challenge you, but I think those are the companies that have a huge advantage. It actually levels the playing field with the bigger players in the space. So like if you have someone that has 10-15 million dollars, but they're laden a bit with legacy, the way they solve problems, and you have an up and comer that is thinking about it from an AI native autonomous perspective, they will have the advantage even though they don't have the name recognition.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think that's a great example. No surprise to anyone listening. I think the other great example is attention. I think, what started out as conversational intelligence, what morphed into a little bit of, agents, and now like the super agent that you could literally give, 15 tasks and tell it to take this action item and put it in ClickUp and take this action item and send this email. What happened on my last 5 deals? Like, I think they're doing a lot of cool things. It's going to be exciting to actually see AI that can truly improve pipeline quality, performance, and not just be one of these things that, for lack of better terms, automates tasks. So let me ask you a
Yep,
question.
I
You're
totally
starting a
agree.
new go-to-market from scratch. What's the very first AI tool you're going to bring in? And what's the last?
Ooh,
How's that for putting you on the spot?
very yeah, very first tool is probably like the open AI or Claude, like depending on where I'm going. That would be like more of a platform type play where I'm leveraging it for multiple things and be able to use it for multiple things. The last one I'm bringing in, I think any of the ones that were built like 2 years ago, like they're just outdated already. Like the
Changes
platform's
so
already,
fast, right?
yeah. Like I don't want to name anybody out, but some of the ones that I saw early on, they were just too early in the game.
100%. Dale, what's one AI promise that's never going to come through?
Um, that robots are going to take over the
Mm,
world.
I like that one. I'm going to go fully autonomous AI outbound. What's the most underrated AI use case that no one's talking about?
Um, I think bottoms up modeling and connecting to the data. And I mean, we didn't do it well in the beginning, and I don't think people know it very well. And they all like conceptually they think top down modeling. So I think it's less of an AI thing and more of a mindset shift. But you can leverage AI to do
Will
it.
you go on record and say your biggest AI sales tool disappointment? Or are you going to pass on that?
Uh, big AI. I don't really have one just yet because they're all just so new. So I don't really have one. I'm just thinking. No, I don't. I don't have one just
I
yet.
have a couple. Anyone listening, you could DM me if you want to talk about those, and I'll prevent you from buying them. But I'm not going to publicly shame someone here. All right, last question, Dale. One question every go-to-market leader should ask before buying any AI tool.
Um, the question I would ask is, What's the vision of the product in the next 6 to 12 months?
Mm, I like it. I like it. All right, y'all. That is our vision on AI as it stands in go to market today. If you are going to be in the Salt Lake City area on Wednesday, August 27th, we are doing a AI focused true go to market workshop where you will get real tactical go to market foundations to help drive your business using AI the right way. This is going to be a kiln in Salt Lake City. We're partnering with our friends at Growth Elevated, sponsored by our friends at Attention, Chili Piper, and EOS Worldwide. Drop Dale or I a DM if you want to go. We are limiting this to 30 people. We have about 8 seats left. We may or may not have a special code that we could give you. But thanks for listening, y'all.